So, how about them curves? Yeah, curves are pretty cool. And in this bite-sized video, we will take a quick look at how we can create curves, what we can do with curves, and how to control curves. So, cue the intro once again, and let's get to it. So how do we create a curve? Easy peasy. You could all come up here to the shelf under curves and surfaces. You'll find that here. Or, of course, the one place where we create everything in Maya, under the create button. Here you will see we got a whole bunch of things. And one of the whole bunch of menus, and one of the menus that we're going to look at is this create menu. Alright, I'm just going to tear it off and move it over here. Now, curves belong to the NURBS family. The NURBS family is a type of geometry that use parabolas to calculate how a surface flows or a curve flows. I won't get into this here because it's bite-sized. I'll just show you how to use the tool and how it's manipulated. So if you want to know more about that, I can make a video specifically about that. But let's get into this. Alright, we have several different types of curves. The three most used is CV curve, EP curve, and Bezier curve. CV curve is the most used, then EP curve, and then Bezier curve. CV is more for creating nice flowing shapes. EP is usually used in rigging where you just need a very controlled amount of points in between a distance. And then Bezier curves is for more intricate shapes that you want to create, more designed shapes. You also have a pencil curve tool and different arc tools. These are very useful to doing architectural type stuff, the arc stuff, but the pencil one, I think I've only used it like once or twice when I was doing more like trying to recreate hair follicles and stuff like that. But we're going to start by talking about the curve tool. So let's just go to the CV control point curve tool, and all I'm going to do is draw a curve. Now notice it's created these dots. These dots are basically saying, hey, create the start of my, let me just undo so we can have a look. So start my curve here, so you're going to get an icon showing that it's square, then the U, which is, this is the second point, third point, fourth point will create the curve, and then we'll just keep on going until I say stop by pressing enter. Now how do we control this curve? Like anything else, you hover your mouse over the object you want, right click, and you'll get some options here. We have control vertices, edit points, and curve points, and hulls. So the most used is control points, and these are basically the points I created when I was drawing, and they're very useful. We could use edit points. These are little X's. It's basically, you see, as I move it, it's keeping the parabola working. It's going to behave very differently than if I'm going to use the control points. And you can see that they are in between. If I switch between them, right? If I switch to vertice points and control points, you can actually see these points are the ones that are basically the parabola points. And you can see this in, I'll show that even more so in the Bezier curve. Alright? And then we have curve points, which basically lets us insert curves, points along a curve. So that's if we want to add points. So that's pretty easy to do. Alright, so that is control curves. Let's have a look at the different types of curves we can create. Let me just delete that one and open the tool settings for the CV curve tool. Now the CV curve tool and the EP curve tool have similar controls, but you'll notice that one or two of them are going to change. I'm just going to reset all the tools. There we go. So basically, in the EP curve, we lose the option to have multiple end knots, and in EP curve, it's not there. And then when I put Bezier Curve, I get even more controls because it's a pretty new tool. It was added into Maya 2016, if I recall, and it's basically you can tell the default settings for each one, and you can see the shortcuts for how to control the Bezier. So you got control middle mouse, control shift, delete, Bezier handles, and you can see control shift and so on. So these are all the controls that you can get. Alright, so let's see about these options and what's the difference between the options. So by default it's set to 3D cubic. And what does that mean? That means when I start drawing 1, 2, 3, when I'm going to get to 4, hence the word cubic, it's going to create my parabola and create the curve. Alright, I'm going to press enter. Now, if I want to make a polygon curve, I'm going to go to linear, and now it's going to draw that linearly, and that's a polygon curve. So this is a difference between a poly curve and a NURBS curve. Alright, the two differences. One's linear, one's cubic. Now, of course, we have a few more options. I could go 2 points, and you can see that it's going to go 1, 2, and on my third point it will create the parabola. Basically using 3 points to calculate the curve or the curvature. Alright. If we go now, we can do that 5 and 7, or we can even create a Bezier. So it is going to create points, 3 points, but it's going to make that as a Bezier shape. And I think if I go into, yeah, it's going to create the Bezier function without you opening the Bezier function. So I'm just going to reset my tool, and with that we'll move on to the Bezier. Oops. Alright, so I'm just going to delete that. So that's the difference between the different curves. Let me just move to a front view, and we are going to work with the Bezier curve. So the Bezier curve, basically the first point, and then I can click and hold down. I'm going to get these handles, and now what I can do is very neatly make very complex shapes very fast. And I can manipulate these points. So I think if I hold shift, so move tool, if I grab that and hold shift, I can do that. I can also change the behavior of these control points. So if I hold down shift, right click, I can say, hey, make that a corner. So now it's going to pinch that just like if it was a linear curve going into a Bezier curve, and then we can get a nice pinching there. We can even make that a Bezier corner, which is pretty cool because that means I can then do stuff like this. Get a more interesting shapes. Oops. There we go. So this is basically what we can do with it. So these are the 3 types of curves and how to create them. In my next video, my next bite-sized video, we're going to go and take a deeper dive and see how we can control these points and how we can manipulate curves and build more complex shapes. So I'll see you in that video. Please, if you like this video, please click the like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have any suggestions how to make these videos better, or if you want to see a video about a certain subject or tool, I'll be happy to do so. Let me know. Anyway, see you soon.